During centuries, ancient civilizations spoke about an impossible land located beyond the far north of the known world. A distant kingdom, gigantic, covered by celestial lights. A region where the sun seemed to never completely disappear from the sky. The Greeks called this place Hyperborea, the land beyond the north wind, a kingdom surrounded by mystery, connected to the gods, to forbidden knowledge, and perhaps to one of the oldest civilizations that ever existed on Earth. For a very long time, Hyperborea was treated as nothing more than mythology, a simple legend lost among ancient stories. But there is one extremely curious detail. Completely different civilizations scattered across the planet seem to preserve remarkably similar fragments of this same idea. An ancient northern land, an advanced kingdom, a civilization connected to the heavens. The Norse peoples spoke about Asgard, the realm of the gods, a place connected to the rest of the world through the gigantic cosmic structure known as Yggdrasil. The Greeks spoke about Hyperborea. The Hindus described ancient destroyed ages of humanity. Other cultures preserved stories about frozen lands, ancestral giants, and lost kingdoms erased by massive cataclysms. As if fragments of the same past had survived scattered throughout human memory. And perhaps Hyperborea was one of those forgotten pieces, because the descriptions of Hyperborea were different from almost every other ancient legend. It was not described as a primitive place, quite the opposite. Various ancient texts suggested an extremely advanced civilization, monumental, connected to the stars, as if those people possessed knowledge that completely disappeared after some great collapse of humanity. Perhaps advanced astronomy, perhaps impossible engineering, perhaps knowledge about the Earth's own cycles, perhaps navigation systems connected to the skies, perhaps technologies based on energy, frequency, and astronomical observation. And perhaps this is exactly where the mysteries become even more disturbing. Because according to some modern interpretations, Asgard may never have been just a mythological realm. Perhaps the Norse peoples preserved fragmented memories of a real civilization from the far north, a civilization so advanced that it was eventually reinterpreted as the home of the gods. And that would begin to explain something extremely strange found in practically every ancient culture. The idea of celestial beings descending from the heavens, forbidden knowledge being delivered to humanity, monumental civilizations appearing almost out of nowhere, as if ancient societies had inherited fragments of something far older, perhaps belonging to the ancient world before the collapse. And then comes Yggdrasil, the tree of life, the cosmic axis connecting all worlds in Norse mythology. For centuries, Yggdrasil was seen as nothing more than a spiritual symbol. But perhaps the ancients were trying to represent something much greater, a network, a system connecting different regions of the planet, or perhaps different layers of reality itself. Because the worlds connected by Yggdrasil were extremely curious. Asgard, Jotunheim, Svartalfheim, celestial realms, frozen lands, subterranean worlds hidden beneath the earth, as if ancient peoples preserved fragmented memories of isolated regions and hidden civilizations scattered across the planet. And perhaps that explains why so many ancient cultures speak about underground tunnels, cities beneath mountains, hidden kingdoms, portals, forbidden passages. The Incas spoke about gigantic tunnels beneath the mountain ranges. The Maya described Xibalba, a subterranean realm connected to deep caves and hidden rivers. Centuries later came the legend of Agartha, a civilization hidden beneath the surface of the planet, as if part of the ancient world had survived hidden below the earth after some massive global cataclysm. And perhaps Hyperborea was connected to all of this, because another element constantly present in the northern legends was the giants. Jotunheim, the land of the giants in Norse mythology, colossal beings associated with the ancient world. And perhaps this all sounds like pure fantasy, until we begin to notice something extremely strange. Practically every ancient civilization spoke about giants. The Greeks spoke about titans. The Bible described the Nephilim. Other cultures preserved stories about gigantic ancestral beings spread across the planet, as if humanity had preserved distorted fragments of something far more ancient. Perhaps ancestral peoples, perhaps forgotten civilizations, or perhaps a reality erased from modern history. And perhaps that is exactly why so many ancient structures still seem impossible today. Gigantic stone blocks, monumental temples, constructions perfectly aligned with the stars, structures scattered across different continents as if they shared the same knowledge, as if the ancient world had been far more connected than we imagine. But there is another even more disturbing detail. Dragons, gigantic serpents, ancient creatures associated with chaos and the end of the world. Practically every ancient culture described similar beings. The Norse spoke about Jormungandr, the colossal serpent capable of encircling the planet. The Bible described Leviathan. Other cultures spoke about celestial dragons, sea serpents, and gigantic reptilian creatures. Coincidence? Or extremely ancient fragments preserved within human memory? Perhaps ancient peoples discovered gigantic fossils without understanding their origin. Perhaps ancestral creatures survived far longer than we imagine. Perhaps gigantic ancient species coexisted with human civilizations long before recorded history. Or perhaps dragons were symbols of something even greater. Cataclysms, celestial phenomena, events capable of destroying entire civilizations. Because according to many ancient traditions, the previous world ended. The Norse called this event Ragnarok, the end of the gods, the collapse of the world. Fire, ice, oceans destroying civilizations, skies collapsing. And perhaps Ragnarok was more than simple mythology. Perhaps it was the fragmented memory of a real cataclysm. Because practically every ancient culture speaks about great global destructions, floods, extreme climate changes, erased civilizations, destroyed worlds, as if humanity had gone through successive cycles of rise and collapse. Perhaps cosmic impacts completely altered the planet. Perhaps shifts in the Earth's axis transformed once habitable regions into frozen wastelands. Perhaps extreme solar events triggered global collapses forgotten by modern history. And perhaps Hyperborea was one of those lost civilizations. A civilization of the far north destroyed by the advance of ice, slowly erased by the planet's frozen storms. But perhaps not completely destroyed. Because some theories claim that fragments of that ancient world might still exist hidden away, beneath the ice, beneath the mountains, beneath the earth. Perhaps that is why so many modern theories speak about hidden structures in Antarctica, ruins beneath the ice, ancient maps showing impossible regions, subterranean entrances at the poles, as if the far north and the far south preserved forgotten fragments of a world that existed before modern humanity. And perhaps Hyperborea never completely disappeared. Perhaps it was simply forgotten, erased by time, by ice, by cataclysms, but still waiting, silently, beneath the most inaccessible regions of the planet. Because perhaps the true shock is realizing that Hyperborea was never alone. Perhaps Atlantis controlled the oceans. Perhaps Ratanaba survived hidden beneath the Amazon. Perhaps Agartha emerged beneath the earth after the collapse, as if ancient civilizations scattered across the planet were all part of the same ancient global system. A connected world, advanced, gigantic, destroyed, but perhaps never completely gone. And perhaps Hyperborea, the legendary land beyond the north, was only one of the final frozen fragments of that lost ancient world. A silent echo of a humanity far older than we imagine. A civilization erased not only by ice, but by time itself. And perhaps, the more modern humanity advances, the closer we are to rediscovering the remnants of that forgotten world. Some mysteries were never meant to be forgotten. Ancient civilizations, forbidden scriptures, lost worlds buried beneath history itself. What if the Bible contains secrets humanity still cannot fully explain? Welcome to Echoes of Revelation. Explore the unknown.